This week in Jamaica Now. A woman shot dead by police during a protest, her body dragged and tossed into a van. A horrified nation demands answers.
If the work of the Integrity Commission, its investigative work culminating in its reports, are sent to Parliament and are not tabled on a timely basis, this is affecting the democracy of the country, the governance of the country, and the public have a right to see it. And we demand that it be tabled today.
An Integrity Commission report on alleged corruption at the country's gun regulator sits in Parliament for 7 weeks. The opposition walks out demanding it be tabled. The government says there's no suppression.
There is absolutely no suppression. There is absolutely no undermining. And there's absolutely no infringement on our democracy.
8 fake guns, a music video producer, and a life sentence. Jamaica's Firearms Act is now on trial in the court of public opinion. And Jamaica secures a $200 million hurricane insurance bond just days before the new Atlantic season begins. I'm Jovan Johnson, and this is Jamaica Now. A 45-year-old woman shot dead by a policeman during a protest in Granville, St. James, and the manner in which her body was handled afterwards has triggered one of the most intense outpourings of public anger over police conduct in recent memory. Latoya Buju-Bulgin was shot and killed on Sunday during a community demonstration over the police killing of her 17-year-old cousin TJ Edwards just 1 week earlier. CCTV footage of the shooting and its immediate aftermath has since gone viral, showing officers dragging Miss Bulgin from her vehicle and tossing her into the back of a police pickup as at least one onlooker screamed. The footage has appalled the country. Residents of Granville mounted fire roadblocks on Monday in protest. A close relative of Miss Bulgin broke down while speaking to the Gleaner. He said Miss Bulgin did not deserve to die like she did. He said the children in the family are traumatized. Member of Parliament for the area, Marlene Malahou Fort, said the situation does not look good.
Not want to jump to hasty conclusion. And I do believe in process and investigation, but based on what I've observed on the scene, the Commissioner will have to take immediate action in relation to the officer in this matter.
Why would you say that, though, madam?
Well, you know, I think this one doesn't look so good. Can't prejudge it, but it doesn't look good.
And Councillor Michael Troop, who was present when the shooting occurred, lamented how Miss Bulgin's body was treated. A female friend who was in the vehicle when Miss Bulgin was shot told the Gleaner that police had stopped the car and asked for a Jamaican driver's license. She said when the vehicle rolled slightly forward as Miss Bulgin pulled the handbrake, the shot was fired. And the Jamaica Constabulary Force High Command ordered the immediate interdiction or suspension of the officer involved, saying it is deeply concerned about the circumstances. It said the matter has been referred to its internal affairs body and the Independent Commission of Investigations, INDECOM. According to the JCF, any action by a member which even appears to fall outside the law, outside established operational standards, or outside the professional values of the organization will attract decisive institutional response. A senior policeman who spoke with the Gleaner about how Miss Bulgin was handled on condition of not being named said officers cannot legally pronounce death. He said officers are obligated to transport injured persons to the nearest medical facility as quickly as possible and have to act under urgent and uncertain conditions. He acknowledged, however, that police are not trained emergency medical technicians and that by right, police vans are not ambulances. Now, Michael Jackson, the executive director of Jamaicans for Justice, said Miss Bulgin's body was not handled in keeping with human rights standards, and the Commissioner, Dr. Kevin Blake, needs to clarify what policies exist regarding pronouncements of death and how victims are to be treated. And INDECOM confirmed it has commenced an independent investigation. It is also urging all witnesses, including persons who were in the vehicle with Miss Bulgin, to come forward. The Commission said it can be reached at 876-553-0000 via WhatsApp or 876-968-1932. It noted that none of the 3 officers conducting crowd control duties at the time were wearing body cameras. a detail that has sharpened calls for their immediate mandatory deployment in police operations. The People's National Party's women's movement has called for the immediate introduction of body-worn cameras across the force, describing the footage as deeply troubling. The killing has also drawn attention to Indicom's concern about the spate of citizens being killed by the security forces, primarily the police. Indicom reports that up to May 21, 132 persons have been fatally shot by the security forces this year, virtually identical to the 132 recorded over the similar period last year. For the full year 2025, Jamaica recorded 311 fatal shootings by the security forces, a 65% increase over the previous year, and the highest figure in recent memory. As recently as April this year, Indicom warned of what it called an alarming trajectory in the use of lethal force, underscoring the urgent need for transparency and accountability in policing operations. National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang has questioned whether the deployment of body-worn cameras in planned police operations would be effective. Previous comments by officials, including the Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness, have also been resurrected. PNP councillor Michael Troop has called for Dr. Holness to retract his February 2025 statement warning Jamaicans returning with criminal intent that they would meet a judge or their maker. Councillor Troop claims that those remarks have led some officers to abandon restraint. A Jamaican man has been charged with the murder of his wife, a 35-year-old Jamaican-American woman who had travelled to the island to celebrate her birthday. Dane Watson was charged on Wednesday after surrendering to the St. Mary Police last week Friday. His wife, Melissa Kerry Samnoth, a New York-based accountant, died from multiple blunt force trauma to the head, a post-mortem examination confirmed. On the night she arrived from Queens Village in New York just over an hour before her birthday, Miss Samnoth sent a WhatsApp message to relatives asking them to call the police. That was the last they heard from her. Mr. Watson allegedly drove Miss Samnoth to the Cornwall Regional Hospital in St. James on April 29 and left shortly after helping her from the vehicle. Hospital staff alerted the police after she was pronounced dead. Her family in New York said they learned of her death from Mr. Watson's own mother, who called to say he had confessed to killing her. The police later issued a statement saying they believe Mr. Watson and Miss Samnoth got married in December 2025. A Kingston music producer who told police that 8 imitation firearms found at his home were props for music videos has been sentenced to 15 years in prison and life imprisonment under the controversial Firearms Act. The outcome has sparked fierce debate about whether the new law has gone too far. 47-year-old Ewain Price was convicted in February of possession and stockpiling of prohibited weapons following a joint police-military search of his Grandspent Drive home in December 2023. He was sentenced on May 15. He'll be eligible for parole after 10 years. The case has ignited a national conversation about the Firearms Act of 2022, which treats imitation firearms in certain circumstances the same as real guns, carrying mandatory minimum sentences that strip judges of discretion. Senior attorney Bert Samuels called the outcome a travesty of justice.
I'm deeply troubled by the fact that our parliament could have ever in their imagination pass a law that an imitation firearm should have with it a minimum sentence of 15 years. And it bothers me because the parliament has so many lawyers. The president of the court of the parliament, Senate rather, was King's Counsel Mr. Finson, who sat and voted on this particular travesty of justice. And then we have a situation where the minister has now said that he's going to amend the law, Minister Chang, but the horse has gone through the gate. Here is this man, he was not found with the firearm on him, the imitation firearm, this toy gun. And it is part of his living. He's a producer, entertainment producer, who will be using something like this in his videos. Who to tell if those videos that he had planned were not being to portray an anti-gun position to the Jamaican youths? So I'm very troubled by the fact that our parliament could have in the first place passed a law that gives that minimum sentence. What it has done is that this man has been sentenced by the parliament, not a judge.
He is calling on National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang and the Governor General, Sir Patrick Allen, to intervene and pardon Mr. Price. Jamaicans for Justice Executive Director Michael Jackson said the law went too far, noting that the previous Firearms Act contained specific carve-outs for imitation firearms used in film and theatrical productions. A music video director speaking anonymously warned the case exposed an alarming risk for the entertainment industry. The government has signaled that amendments to the act may be forthcoming. A major new survey has found that while most Jamaicans reject breaking the law to get ahead, younger adults are showing a growing willingness to bend rules and prioritize personal advancement, even at the expense of others. The Heart of Jamaicans survey was conducted by Market Research Services Limited and sampled 1,100 adults nationwide. It found that 81% of respondents agreed with the local saying, "Jackass the world on level," reflecting deep-rooted frustration with fairness and justice in the society. While 69% overall reject illegal behavior to get ahead, that stance softened significantly among those aged 18 to 44. Businessman Howard Mitchell, speaking at the launch of the survey on Tuesday, said Jamaica was in urgent need of social reform, arguing that no amount of economic progress would substitute for it.
I am responding to the point of order.
The opposition walked out of Parliament on Tuesday and accused the government of suppressing an Integrity Commission report into alleged corruption at the Firearms Licensing Authority FLA after Gordon House refused to table the document. The report was submitted to Parliament on March 30, a situation made public in a Sunday Gleaner report on May 17.
This report concerning the Firearms Licensing Authority, a public body that has most serious statutory functions, came to this House on March 30, 2026. The cover letter from the Integrity Commission said that the report contains serious matters concerning governance, maladministration, corruption, etc. We are now in mid-May, and that report has not been tabled today. Reports that came to Parliament on Thursday last week, 4 of them, about relatively junior public servants who didn't comply with their statutory declaration filing deadlines. Those have been tabled today, but a more serious report has not been. Parliament allegedly says because the FLA brought proceedings in court, that is relevant to this decision. But in the Ian Hales matter, the court definitively said that the tabling of reports or any other document in Parliament is a matter which is immune from any kind of jurisdiction of the courts. And there's no court order, and there could not properly be any court order affecting the tabling of this report. So this is a most serious matter. We are sure that that report contains very serious matters that the public, the opposition, the media has a right to see and wants to see. And yet we see it being suppressed by the delay in tabling it. And that is untenable. The whole purpose and objective of the Integrity Commission Act is thwarted and undermined if the work of the Integrity Commission, its investigative work culminating in its reports, are sent to Parliament and are not tabled on a timely basis. This is affecting the democracy of the country, the governance of the country, and the public have a right to see it. And we demand that it be tabled today.
Leader of Government Business in the House of Representatives, Floyd Green, rejected the claims of suppression, noting that Parliament was acting in good faith by withholding the report until a court challenge that the FLA has brought against the IC is resolved.
Mr. Speaker, the opposition's characterizations are most unfortunate for somebody who holds his office. There is absolutely no suppression, there is absolutely no undermining, and there's absolutely no infringement on our democracy. And I will indicate why quite clearly. As the opposition leader indicated, the Speaker has said that the report, any report, will be tabled at the earliest possible time after a review is done. It is clear, as was done in the Ian Hales' matter, which treated with a member of the opposition, where the matter was brought before the court, that report was not tabled by this Parliament until that matter was resolved. Why was that the case? That is the case because the standing orders make it extremely clear that where there are matters under 16G5 that are likely to prejudice a case, 6G5, that are likely to prejudice a case which is under trial, and under 35(2), any matter on which a judicial decision is pending, then we are not to treat with that matter, or we prejudice the matter. It would make no sense that this Parliament would do something, as learned King's Counsel said. It would make no sense that this Parliament would do something that would then take away the power from another arm of government, right? So, the leader of the opposition is quite aware that this is how we proceeded with Member Hales. This is nothing new. This is no suppression. If it was good at that time for him and no issue was raised by the opposition in 2017 when this government, I'll say it again, and the member from Eastern Westmoreland waxed eloquently earlier about hypocrisy. In 2017, no issue was raised by the opposition when the matter involving Member Hales, when that report was not tabled by this Parliament. The right decision was made then. That decision is being made now.
Tuesday's walkout came after Acting Speaker Heroy Clark refused to allow opposition MP Dr. Dayton Campbell to raise questions about the untabled report during the sitting. Retired Court of Appeal President Justice Seymour Panton, a former Integrity Commission chairman, said Parliament should table the report and that the injunction granted in the Ian Hales matter was wrong. That injunction was granted in 2017 and it blocked the tabling of the report for 5 years. When the Supreme Court ultimately ruled on Mr. Hales' lawsuit, it said the injunction should not have been granted in the first place and that Parliament runs its own internal affairs. Constitutional lawyer Dr. Lloyd Barnett has offered a more cautious view, saying Parliament's restraint may be appropriate depending on the nature of applications before the court and any orders made. There are also concerns that the actions of Parliament in delaying the FLA report could create a practice where aggrieved persons file court action against oversight bodies to block the release of investigative reports that they don't like. The FLA head, Shane Dalling, has declined all comment. The Court Administration Division says the court case is sealed and it cannot disclose hearing dates, any orders made or the judge assigned. And in a development on Thursday, Opposition Leader Mark Golding threatened legal action against the Speaker and the Senate President if the report is not tabled at the next sitting of the Houses. Golding shared a legal opinion from King's Counsel Michael Hilton, arguing that the report must be tabled and that the standing orders cited by the government to justify the delay are inapplicable. Mr. Hilton said Mr. Golding has a good chance of success if he files a claim for 2 declarations from the court, that the Speaker and the President have a duty to table the report, that the standing orders cited by the government do not override the duty to table the report, and that without a court order, the FLA case is not a basis to delay the report. Jamaica has secured $200 million in parametric hurricane insurance through a World Bank catastrophe bond. It's $50 million more than the government had initially sought after global investors oversubscribed the offering. The bond replaces coverage that was fully paid out to Jamaica following Hurricane Melissa, which struck the island in October 2025. Melissa killed at least 45 persons and caused damage estimated at more than $12 billion, equivalent to more than half of Jamaica's entire 2024 GDP. The bond was secured days before the Atlantic hurricane season opens on June 1st. It provides 4 years of coverage through to 2030. Finance Minister Favour Williams said the instrument ensures Jamaica has capital market access as a key pillar of the resilience framework. Unlike traditional insurance, payouts are triggered automatically by a storm's intensity and track, which ensures rapid financial support without waiting for damage assessments. Meanwhile, the Meteorological Service of Jamaica is warning of a developing El Niño event expected to bring reduced rainfall and rising temperatures with potential consequences for water resources, agriculture and food security across the island. El Niño refers to the periodic warming of water temperatures in the eastern Pacific Ocean, a natural cycle that typically suppresses rainfall across the Caribbean. Principal Director Evan Thompson says recent observations show a shift toward warmer and drier conditions in several areas.
The Meteorological Service has been monitoring the weather conditions. We recognize that the rainfall has really been decreasing over the island. Also, temperatures have been rising, and we're watching the El Nino as it seems to be developing this year, and it could be a very strong one. So we're watching it very closely. We'll be issuing any kind of releases that are necessary, and of course, meeting with the whatever officials are necessary. But we want you to make sure that you take your information from credible sources. The Meteorological Service is on the ball. We're getting the information and we're willing to pass it out. We're ready to pass it out as soon as we do receive that. So listen for later updates from the Met Office and any other credible source that you are aware of.
The National Drought Management Committee has been activated and is expected to meet within the next 10 days. The Ministry of Water is urging Jamaicans to practice responsible water use and stay informed through official advisories. And that's it for this edition of Jamaica Now, your weekly review of the big news stories. Send us your comments at onlinefeedback@gleanerjm.com. Follow us on X, formerly Twitter, and Instagram at Jamaica Gleaner, and on Facebook at Gleaner Jamaica. Like this video on our YouTube page, turn on your notifications, and subscribe today. I'm Jovan Johnson.